Morning to all. How are you? Good. Small group today. Well, we're talking about hotels. Hotels are really the core of the tourist business. And not surprisingly, the first set of criteria that was elaborated by GSTC back in 2008 was about hotels and tour operators. And I would like to, as an introduction to our panel today, to mention some of the criteria that were then identified, not just by a small group of experts, but really wide consultations and with the participation of all stakeholders in tourism. And that gives you an idea that the understanding of the concept of sustainability and the role that hotels can play go beyond what is the traditional understanding or common understanding that sustainability is only about saving water or saving energy. So I would like to mention just a few of the criteria which in my view are somehow less obvious. And that will be somehow a start of our discussion, and then I will be introducing our three panelists. First, it is requested that every hotel has a long-term sustainability management system that includes all the aspects of sustainability. So it's not just about day-to-day management, it's about a long-term plan that can be done either at the level of an hotel chain or at the level even of a small hotel. Key point is the communication of the sustainability policy. It's not only about doing things, but it's about communicating the things, how you do it, and to engage. I think there could not be, in my view, a successful sustainability performance unless you engage all your customers and all your clients. And equally important, the engagement of the staff. One of the criteria says that staff are engaged with development and implementation of the sustainability management system and receive periodic guidance and guidance. Then another concept important, that sustainability starts with planning, siting, design, and construction of the building. So it's not only about running an hotel, but it's also how an hotel is constructed, where it is, how you take into account ventilations to avoid the use, for example, of air conditioning, etc. And then an important point is that hoteliers needs to be involved in the larger sustainability plan of a destination. On the community support, the local community involvement is a key, and there is an old pillar of the sustainability criteria of GSTC that has to do with the community support, with the local employment, with the local purchasing, with local entrepreneurs, equal opportunity, decent work, etc. Other key points, cultural issues, cultural interaction, very important guidelines and guidance to guests and clients as far as, for example, visit to indigenous communities and an historical sensitive site. Protection, hotels have also a role in protecting the cultural heritage through the guide and the conduct of their own clients. And last but not least, the all environmental issues, environmentally preferable purchasing. One of the SDGs was mentioned yesterday is about sustainable consumption and production. So it is a must that items which are bought from environmental sustainable suppliers and products so as to continue the whole chain. And finally, another role important role of hotels is regarding wildlife interactions and animal welfare. Again, that was a key issue that was introduced and discussed yesterday. So now we have three panelists today, which I will have the pleasure to invite to the stage, which is Hazel Fang Quek, who is the Senior Corporate Responsibility Executive of Hilton. Please, Hazel, welcome. An applause to her, please. Jeff Smith, who is Vice President of Sustainability of Six Senses. Welcome to the stage. and Marisa Sukosol of Sukosol Hotels Thailand, who is also the chair of the Thailand Hotel Association Environmental Committee. Welcome, Marisa. Please. So I will ask Hazel to start with the presentation, and I really would like to have, since we are a smaller group, if possible, to have more debate than what we had in the previous panel. Well, presentation has taken more time, so please start thinking about your question, and we will have a bit of time to debate with our panelists. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Luigi, and good morning. My name is Hazel, and first of all, I must say, after being in the session yesterday that showcased a lot of sustainable hotels, sustainable luxury hotels, myself, I was looking on their websites and really wanting to visit some of them. So I represent Hilton, and we are quite an oddball in kind of this event that seem to have a lot more sustainability-focused eco-resorts and all of that. 5,000 over hotels in the 100th year that we've been around, and in Asia Pacific, just over 240. We are a big company, and this year, just within Asia Pacific, which is one of the biggest engines of our growth, we will open an average of 1 hotel in a week. That's exciting for us, but also how do we keep up with, from a sustainability viewpoint? It simply means that the tools that we develop for the hotels need to be really easy for the hotels to pick and run once they come into operations, and I'll speak a little bit about that. We've been around for 100 years and innovated with the industry, and we know that for the next 100 years, the concept of innovation will change as societies change, our clients change, public perception of travel and tourism changes, and I think responsible travel and tourism will be a big part of that innovation that we want to bring in our next 100 years. So as Randy mentioned this morning, societies and visitors, what they want, they evolve over the years. So I'm sure when we started a long time ago, travelers wanted a sense of consistency, a sense that they can expect the same thing when they venture to a new destination, when they were just starting to explore the world. And one of the pictures that was mentioned earlier this morning was around, can you know which hotel room you're at? Does the hotel room reflect the sense of place? And I think for many years, we've gone to a philosophy that travelers that stay with us want that sense of familiarity. So when you step on a Hilton, I don't deny that you might not be able to tell where you are. I sometimes cannot tell where I am either. But we're changing with the demands as well that we are seeing evolving. So the new brands that we develop these days are embedding the sense of place more and more into their characteristics. We know that travelers want to have that personalization experience. We want experiential travel. So the new brands are adapting to this new trend. And for today, I want to talk a little bit about our corporate responsibility strategy, which is called Travel with Purpose. So I think that's quite self-explanatory. And last year, we launched our 2030 goal for Travel with Purpose. You can look it up online if you just search Hilton 2030 goals. So there are many specific goals among this broader commitment that we have. But simply put, it's to halve our environmental footprint and to double our social impact investment. And this, of course, involves working through the value chain. Supplier is a big part of this equation. Our operations, how we communicate to guests, our team members, as well as engage with the communities. And because of this commitment, actually, when we launched last year, we were recognized on Fortune magazine's Change the World list. Well, it's a win for the company, but I think it's also a win for all of us in this room because it's that the public and the businesses are recognizing this is a future of the business, this is the future of the world, that the goals we are setting is in the right direction. So I think that's encouragement for everyone in this room that that's what the world wants to see from our industry coming up. And closer to this event, if I may go on to the next slide, I want to focus a little bit on sustainability. So part of the halving our environmental footprint is also our commitment to science-based targets. And we were the first major hospitality company to implement science-based targets. We want to reduce our emissions by 61% by the year 2030. And this is a goal that was vetted by the Science Based Target Institute. How will we measure this? Currently, we are at about 30%, and we know we need to do a lot more work, especially in the innovation space, to help us get to 61%. Within Hilton, we have 5,000 over hotels. All of them are plugged into a system called Lightstay. So it's our proprietary sustainability performance management system. It's a mouthful. What it means is that every hotel is required to enter data for their energy, water, and waste. That's quite basic, right? But we overlay that with local weather station data, and we also connect it to our property management systems, which allows us to have information about occupancy and all of that. So when you look, all this data combined, over 5,000 over hotels, and we've had this system since 2008, what it simply gives is a really good guide of a hotel that's not even open yet. It could open next week, but right now at this moment, it already knows what does operating efficiently means in terms of energy, water, and waste, because there will be a target set for this hotel. And every year, the hotels are constantly revised. We're currently going through that now. They have an annual target to achieve, and they also go through a process of reviewing and refining these targets on property, depending on maybe they are going through a major renovation or et cetera that might majorly impact their usage of these utilities. So what that also allows us, that data allows us, is to communicate the value of being sustainable and mindful of your energy, water, and all of these use to our owners. Since 2008, we have generated $1 billion savings and able to show that back to our owners. And energy cost is like the second, most of the time, in the second highest cost for operations in a hotel, second to labor. It also allows us to show our sustainability performance to our clients. So we have a large percentage of our business coming from B2B, so major companies around the world. And these days, many of these major companies are asking for these information when they select a hotel, to whether for the year's group bookings or meetings and events. So that's extremely useful for us, that we can have a one-pager for our sales team to show the clients this is what our hotel is doing and this is what our performance is. And if you choose, for example, I love this meeting because in my role in the Hilton, we would brand this whole experience as Meet with Purpose. So a lot of hotels that are based in cities, they host a lot of large-scale meetings. And there are a lot of things that we can do while the delegates are within our hotels full day to engage them in this. It's the food, the local food that we can offer, the local sourcing that we can support, that also can showcase the local culture and create a more experiential experience for the guests. So the last time I was in Bangkok, they had the Meet with Purpose set up as well. To be honest, I do not remember too much about what was happening in the meeting, the specific content. But I do remember very, very clearly the experience of the chef cooking a pad thai at the live station and offering it on banana leaf flour. So I think things like that are really interesting for the meeting delegates that we have. At the same time, what are the cultural activities or local environmental activities we can engage them to do? I'm sure the elephant tours are that we are having on Saturday or the local tours are something like that we're offering as part of Meet with Purpose. So we're also able to do carbon offset for our clients when they meet with us. So based on the number of rooms, the number of meals that you're going to have at the hotel, every hotel is able to calculate what is the total emissions of the event and be able to offset that for the client. So we want to make that more and more a value proposition for our clients as well. This platform has allowed us to share best practices among our teams as well, particularly among engineers. They're able to see the projects that are input by other hotels that relates to energy, water, and waste reduction and waste. There are many streams of that, right? And lastly, more recently, we are testing this out. GMs are constantly evaluated by the financial and commercial performance of the hotel, as well as there's a HR extent of the culture of the hotel among the team members. So we've been instilling a travel with purpose KPI into our hotel's general managers for Asia Pacific, and it has really shown that what gets measured really gets done. The number of hotels that are able to meet their goals, that invest more in effort into meeting their reduction goals, have more than doubled from 2017 to 2018, and we are continually refining this KPI with the general managers. We now get a lot more questions from general managers on what they can do. They have more conversation with their engineers and their teams on what, especially if they're going through refurbishment or going through purchase of new equipment, they have this at the back of their heads. And that has really helped us in achieving these goals. So I'll leave more time to my panelists next up, but happy to take on other questions later. And thank you for having me here.
Hazel, thank you very much. I have just a first quick question to you. You mentioned about many of the initiatives in reducing energy, water consumptions. Do you feel that all of your customers are actually believe that this is a plus for your hotel? As I said in my speech, you have a number of customers that are concerned about the planet, but other customers say, look, I'm going on vacation, I want to stay well. I have 360 days to talk and to think about the world, but now I want to enjoy. Is there more about sustainability in your hotel chain that can be appealing to the customers, all customers, beyond those who are, I would say, ethically motivated?
Thank you. So it's true. Our business invites very different travelers from those that we saw in luxury, sustainable, or eco resorts, right? There are a lot of business travel in our percentage of guest mix, and it's true. So not everyone might be so interested. Some might view it as a cost saving when you are telling me not to use so much water. So how do we do it? One way is through our app. So we have the membership app, and one of the things we started last year was this thing called Connected Room. Is where using your app, if you're a member, you're able to control certain elements to personalize your stay. So part of it is connecting to your video channels, your Netflix, and all of that. But another part of it is also being able to take control of your room in terms of environmental sustainability engagement. So for starters, we're looking at the air conditioning units. I don't want to go back to a room that's freezing cold because that's the standard AC, and guests are able to control that in their hands. I think we're at a stage that we are working to connect more and more with our guests. It's a lot of things that we're doing on the back end, but we know that guests are equally part of the equation. They are the ones using the resources. So how do we engage them in that? One of the things that we're working towards is how do we make it fun and engaging, incentivize them as well. So we've also had conversations with some large corporate travel bookers who expressed that some large companies are looking to help the employees be more green when they travel. So these are things that we're experimenting right now, and we'll definitely hope to have our guests be part of the equation more and more.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now from a big hotel chain, we go to a smaller one, but equally important and well-known, which is Six Senses. So Jeff, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. So I'm with Six Senses Hotels, Resorts, and Spas. I want to just give a quick and brief introduction to our brand for those of you who might not be familiar with us. We are a medium-sized, I guess you could say, Luigi, and rapidly growing group of hotels, resorts, and spas, as the name would imply. I think, and to Luigi's last question, I think that there is a growing appetite in the marketplace for tourists who are maybe, we live in a very cynical world today. And I think that there is a need, I think lots of people have a need for something authentic and something real. And if through tourism and through hotels we're able to provide that to travelers, I think that definitely resounds with people. I think people are craving something better. And if we can offer that through a hotel stay, that's fantastic. We've had a lot of growth in our brand over the last couple of years, and I think a lot of that is because of our commitment to sustainability, and we're getting a lot of traction. Our vision, which is on the screen, is helping people reconnect with themselves, others, and the world around them. For any company doing sustainability, it's important, and especially for hotels, to make sustainability your own. How does sustainability translate to your core and who you are? And I'm very lucky in my role because with Six Senses, I think it's very apparent. I mean, nobody wants to reconnect with others if that's a damaged community, and nobody wants to reconnect with the world around them if it's dirty and polluted. Right? So it's core to our vision. For us to achieve our vision, we need healthy communities. We need beautiful, pristine environments. So it's for us to get up in the morning and do what we do, we have to protect those communities. We have to protect the environment. So I feel very blessed and very lucky in a way that's easy I see it as easy for me to translate sustainability to the core of what we do. And I guess that's just a general message for sustainability in any role, any business. As I mentioned, we are a growing group, so traditionally we're more Asia-focused brands, but as you can see on the map, we are growing to lots of locations across the world. We now have resorts in Europe, and we're building some in Europe. We're in the next couple of years, we're due to open in downtown New York City. We have hotels now in Singapore, downtown Singapore, in Chinatown. So not just resorts, but also urban hotels. And through, of course, this large development pipeline. Today we have 16 hotels in operation and 30 some odd spas. We're set to double the hotels in our portfolio over the next 2 or 3 years. And so you can see we're going through expansive growth. With that growth, it's very important for sustainability to have standards in place for design and construction. So, and I think this was mentioned earlier as well. And of course, we do have that. So through this whole design and construction process, we have detailed standards get issued to the consultants, the architects, the engineers, everyone. And there are specific sections of those standards for sustainability that we've baked into those. We also have standards and guidelines, as we call them, policies for hotels in operation. So we're a hotel operator. We're not an owner. And operations is, of course, core then to our focus area. So we do manage. We have a management system for that. We have audits. We do also, of course, track our energy, water, and waste across all of our properties. And that's something that's mandatory, and we do it for every single hotel. One of the key tools that I find that I have in my toolbox for sustainability is funding, and I think I wanted to highlight this, thinking about what I would present about our brand. We do have funding set aside for sustainability. It's not CSR, it's not corporate. We keep the funds at the business unit level. It doesn't get pooled to the corporate office. Unfortunately for me, that means I don't have a huge budget to play around with, but fortunately for those destinations, it means the funds from visitor stays stay at the destination, which I think is more important and more sustainable. So we set aside 0.5% of revenue. We also top up those funds by selling our own bottled water, which we do ourselves. 50% of those sales go to this fund. We sell soft toys like the toy in the image here, and then, of course, if guests want to donate, they can. And we focus those funds on addressing strategic sustainability issues at that business unit level. So we like to invest money in local education, the school down the road, the hospital down the road. We invest quite a bit in infrastructure, public institutions, and then of course also in wildlife research, habitat restoration, habitat protection, which is important, again, because for us to achieve our vision, we need healthy, thriving communities and beautiful, pristine environments. So there's always a business case in sustainability, and it's that's core to what we do. We also have, at all of our properties, we have full-time sustainability managers. That's I find very important, very useful for me, especially where I sit in our home office, our corporate office, to be able to have those dedicated people on the ground. It is a full-time job. It's not something they do in their spare time. It's not voluntary. It is their job. And also our values and our performance, our sustainability management framework feeds back into the KPIs for those properties and for the general managers. So it is measured and they are accountable to it, which is, of course, very important. Another great thing I wanted to talk about is our big push on plastic. You know, as I'm sure all of you guys know, and anyone working in the hotel world, 2018 seemed to be the year of the plastic announcements for all the hotel groups, which is fantastic. I think it's great that there's this public awareness around disposable plastics right now. It's something we've been doing for many years with Six Senses. We cut out all of our plastic straws in the year 2017. We achieved that, or sorry, 2016, we achieved that goal. We've been bottling our own drinking water in reusable glass bottles since 2003. And we want to just really push this forward. There's a huge body of science coming out now, a lot of evidence showing that we're only starting to begin to understand the human health impacts of plastics, and especially microplastics in the environment. And so our pledge is to be free of all plastic by the year 2022. This is our big, crazy goal that we know is not possible to achieve today. We don't just mean disposable plastics, we mean all plastic. And again, for us as a brand, this fits well for us, the kind of luxury hospitality that we do. We already like to use a lot of natural materials, a lot of stone, a lot of wood in our buildings, so we already don't have a lot of plastic. So again, it's strategic for us, it fits for us. But I also would welcome anyone in the room to join us on this, to just don't use plastic. Reusable, high-quality materials are a much better solution for our sustainability and our own health. And then just moving on for a final plug, I really wanted to plug this program that we participate in. And speaking of the metrics, the water, the energy, and the waste, we do track that across all of our hotels. There's a great program happening through Cornell University where you can benchmark that data. And all of the brands that are up on the screen right now are participating. Unfortunately, not every single hotel unit in all of these brands, of course. All Six Senses units do benchmark the data through this program, though. And what's great is the Cornell guys will take the data, remove the names, share back the data anonymously, and they categorize the data too. So what we're able to do from accessing this data is we can look at our climate zone. We can look at 3-star hotels, 4-star hotels. For us, what's relevant is only the 5-star hotels in our climate zone and how much energy are they using per square meter and per occupied room, which is very useful in operations, so we're not flying in the dark. We know, okay, we think we're energy efficient, but how efficient are we by the numbers? It's also very useful for us. We're using it more now in the design process, where when they're designing the hotels, we ask the engineers to predict how much energy will their hotel use per square meter, and we will benchmark it for them and show them, well, based on your climate zone where you're building the hotel, 5-star luxury resorts, this is where you sit in that data set, which is very useful. Again, so we're not flying in the dark. The more hotels that submit data, the better the data set gets. So for all of my hotel colleagues in the room, please think about this. If you're collecting your energy and water figures, there's a great opportunity to benchmark those figures with Cornell, and Cornell will send all the data back to you by participating, and then you can see how you're doing. That's my presentation. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jeff. Just very much like your last comments about the benchmarking and the data collection. One of the issues is, you named one of the big challenges, plastic. The other big challenge is climate change, I would say, confronting the world today. And in my view, I think the tourist sector as ours is kind of ill-equipped to set targets, just because there is no way that you can measure exactly the amount of emissions and your target as far as reducing emissions. I wonder whether that project that you mentioned of Cornell University could be steered in a way where just at the beginning the seed of a larger project whereby it would be possible to compare and to adapt what is the consumption of energy by the tourist sector and be part of a target of a reducing of emissions in a medium term.
Thanks. Yeah, of course, climate change it's huge, and it's unfortunate that the world is waking up now to plastic, which is the next big issue, and we're not even close to solving climate change. Not even close. Yes, I think this data benchmarking on energy could be very useful. Of course, energy can be rolled up into carbon emissions, right? And with different factors in different locations, depending on how you get your energy, what your energy source is. I can't speak on behalf of the Cornell guys, but I could imagine that could evolve into a benchmarking of carbon emissions. I think in the short term, what we all could do is just try to reduce our energy use, because that ultimately does lead to carbon. In most cases, not in all. There are a few places in the world where your energy is clean energy. Very few places, and hopefully a growing number of places. But yeah, it definitely could be an interesting tool for us all to use. You mentioned the emissions target reduction, and I think it's an important point, and it's a little bit of an elephant in the room, I believe, for sustainable tourism, is that if we're traveling, there are definitely carbon emissions related to that travel. And for us really to address climate as an industry, we need sustainable modes of transportation.
Big challenge, indeed. Well, thank you, Jeff. So, Marisa, please, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all have a smile and laugh? Hello, hi. I have no sustainability background or science background. I'm a hotelier. I'm a hotel owner. Our group of hotels have 5 in Thailand, 2 in Bangkok, and 3 in Pattaya. Luigi said 5 slides, so I prepared 5 slides, and that's it, with no real information inside the slides, but I'll just tell you my story. I think that's the most I can do. So 4 years ago, I was appointed the head of sustainability, environmental committee of the Thai Hotels Association. I had no idea what sustainability was about, but I knew that my hotels in Pattaya had been sustainable for years. And I knew that I could probably, utilize our experience there in my new role as the sustainability chair. And so I'll tell you about my hotels later. I just want to talk about my role in the Thai Hotels Association, THA, because I know a lot of you are from governmental associations as well. So my first year, I just networked like crazy, and it was so confusing because I didn't know there were so many governmental agencies that I had to familiarize myself with. I didn't know how it all worked together, and then in the end I found out no one really worked together. Everybody works separately. But shout out to DASTA. DASTA is an incredible organization, because once I met DASTA, I learned that they were open to cooperating with other agencies and to make sustainability happen, and I'll tell you more about that later. So about 25 years ago, the Green Leaf Foundation was started in Thailand. It's a pioneering foundation that certified green hotels. And the Hotels Association was part of the founding members. So in my second or third year of joining THA, I worked with the Green Leaf Foundation quite a bit. We organized several green procurement conferences in Bangkok, and through DASTA's support in Pattaya. Kuniti is right there. He's the DASTA director in Pattaya. Very, very, very effective organization. I've worked with them a lot. So, and then we also trained hotel suppliers on the concept of sustainability procurement and what they can do to make their products more sustainable. And we also communicated to hotels how to pick and choose, how to know which product is more sustainable than another product, you know. So it was educational, and I'm very happy to say that this year the food and hotel show, the big one at Bitech in Bangkok, will have a sustainability pavilion. So I'm really glad about that. And then another organization I work very closely with is TCEP, the Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau. They're very heavy into sustainability, and then through that I found that demand side, from the demand point of view, the most, how do I say this in English? People who are really interested in sustainability are the meeting organizers, because they're multinational companies and they're in the stock, you know, the Dow Jones Stock Exchange, and they have their sustainability index. They take sustainability very, very seriously. So I imagine that they were the ones who would spearhead the sustainability movement in terms of meetings, you know. So with TCEP, we worked together to launch the Thailand Meetings Venue Standard, which is each hotel or meetings venue can have their meeting room certified. And this year, TCEP just launched their Thailand Sustainable Meetings Venue Standard, which incorporates the sustainability elements of the entire hotel operation as well, not just the meeting room. And through TCEP, we work together on a Farms to Function project, which help facilitate buying rice directly from farmers. And so I guess my whole theme here is partnership. So we do several good things together. Then the tourism ministry, we also have a tourism ministry. And together we work on the Thailand Hotel Standard certification, of which several criteria is environmentally friendly, concerns the environment. And also they have their own ASEAN Green Standard Foundation, green standards, which they had to formulate because Thailand was responsible for that about 2 years ago. Then TAT, Tourism Authority of Thailand. Everybody wants to go connect with TAT because they have a huge budget. And they did have the green, they did try to promote, help promote green travel like 4 or 5 years ago, then they went quiet. And now the movement is back. So we have a plastics campaign with TAT. And for the first time, they're helping promote hotels that are sustainable through their offices overseas. And if you want to join TAT's trade shows, you have to be sustainable. It's one of their criteria now. So I'm really, really happy about that. And one of the proudest things of what I've achieved is connecting DASTA with Green Hotel. Green Hotel is a standardization scheme by the Ministry of Environment in Thailand. The reason they launched it was because they were trying to convince state agencies to procure sustainably, and they needed hotels in the secondary and tertiary provinces, so that the state agencies can use green hotels, had a choice, because most of the bigger hotels that were sustainably certified were in Bangkok. So that's why Green Hotel was set up. And just through attending conferences and meeting people, I introduced DASTA to Green Hotel. And very kindly, DASTA has supported Green Hotel ever since, and now Green Hotel helps certify hotels in the areas where DASTA has offices. And I love DASTA because they walk the talk, They're nothing that they do is superficial. They really, really do it, and they have people entrenched in the communities. And even in Pattaya, where you know, the city is quite big, they are able to promote sustainability in Koh Lan, working with the Thai Hotels Association on the main beach, and also developing the communities in the mountains near Pattaya as destinations. So I'm really happy about that. So now can I talk about my hotels? All right, okay. So we're a small group, very mom and pop type of hotel group. My mother started the hotel. The Siam Bay Shore is the oldest one. It's in Pattaya, nearby Walking Street. You know Walking Street, right? We're the most sustainable hotel in Pattaya. We have people visiting, groups from Bhutan, from all over the Asia, visiting our operations. Oh, this is the Siam Bay Shore. Oh, can you go back? Because I want to introduce every hotel. Can you go back? ช่วยกลับไปหน่อยได้ไหมคะ กลับไปไซต์เมื่อกี้นะคะ Yes, so, and then we have the Bayview, also in Pattaya, and Wave, Miami-inspired fancy boutique hotel. And we have the Sukosol, which is a city hotel in Bangkok, and the Siam, which is world-renowned, super luxury, beautiful, amazing. And if you want to come visit, just call me anytime. It's on the Chao Phraya River. So all of my hotels are certified as sustainable. All right. And our slogan is Hotels with Heart, because heart is our acronym of our core values. Honesty, excellence, art, because we're very artistic. My brother's a rock star, pop star. He decorates the hotels. Most Thais will know him. And responsibility, because we are, we manage our hotels in a very responsible manner, very honest, and also we have to be responsible towards the environment. And Thainess, because we are Thai, so we value Thai customs and traditions as well. And our brand elements, the key brand elements are style, service, and sustainability. So sustainability is in the mindset, or we try to promote sustainability in the minds of our staff. Okay, this is Siam Bay Shore. Next slide, please. Very green. Yeah, just about 10 steps away from Walking Street in South Pattaya. If you want to, we have 40 acres of land over there. It's very, very green, and in every, with all the green, energy, water, waste, we do everything over there. Okay, this is a new, Kun Luigi asked us to talk about what we do outside of the mainstream sustainable concepts. So we introduce, the biggest challenge of being sustainable for us, which is weird, is we do it quite well, but we don't communicate it very well to our customers. And this is in our effort to communicate to our customers that we are green. We have green rooms. And what is a green room? You can ask me later. I have a list right here. So the temperature is set at 25. We don't use bleached linen. We use LED bulbs. We have recycling bins in the rooms, all kinds of things, for the green room. So even in our city hotel, a 500-room city hotel in Bangkok, next slide, please. We also have green rooms there, and which is about, not all of the hotel rooms are green, but about 10% of the hotels are green. Next slide, Naka. Oh, this is just the little pictures of the little things in the room. Okay, so this is a slide from booking.com, the booking page. This is our hotel in Bangkok. We have the premier green room. And it's only 10% of our inventory, but a lot of guests book it when they have the choice of booking a similar room of a same category but same price. A lot of them will choose the premier green room. And they are Asians, Japanese, Koreans, and Europeans as well. So we're very happy about this. Another offering that we try to engage guests with is the meetings, our green meetings concept, which is, using, saving on all the resources in the meeting rooms and using local products. We even have organic breaks to offer customers and the opportunity to donate food waste after the meeting is complete. So, and this is just a question, part of the questionnaire when the guests book the meeting. So we ask them, we kind of check with them if they're okay, if there are water stations instead of water bottles and on all the tables, and everything else. And we've always had a customer base of the Thai government as our base customer, and you wouldn't believe that a lot of the governmental agencies are choosing the green meetings, and even multinational companies are coming to our hotel in Bangkok because we offer green meetings. So very proud about that. This is just something that happened about a year ago that I've seen people picking and choosing a green meeting. So it's very, very positive. ค่ะต่อได้ไหมคะ? Oh, and also in our survey, the hotel survey, when guests leave, we have questions about what they think if they booked our hotel because of our being certified, or if whether or not they appreciate our initiatives. So it's built into the hotel survey. So when we do a whole host of other programs in our hotel, and mostly through partnerships with programs that come to me at the Thai Hotels Association or to our hotels, and we just join hands with them. And so without their initiatives, we wouldn't be able to do all of these projects. So I think partnerships with the governmental, all the programs and stuff, it's a tool, and I appreciate that being in Thailand, that these projects are available. ค่ะต่อนะคะ Okay, this is on behalf of THA, we're launching the Thai Hotels Plastics Free project, and we invite Six Senses or Hilton, your Hilton hotels, to join our project. I can give you information later. So we will have guidelines as to how hotels can minimize the use of single-use plastics in all of their departments. And the name of the hotels that are joining our program will be given to TAT to promote overseas. So and to travel agencies overseas. So very proud about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Marisa. Just a quick question on your role as the chair of the Thai Hotel Associations. Are you able to engage, and now you do it if you can, the small and middle hotels? Because I presume that it's easier to engage large chains or big hotels, but we know that the tourism is composed mostly of small and middle hotels, sometimes in remote areas and without easy contact. So how you see that challenge, and you were able to solve it, or what are your ideas about it?
Actually, the reality is completely opposite from what you are saying. Because we're a local organization, I think, and most of the communication is in Thai. The big chains are not active participants in the organization, although they are members. And I work mostly with SMEs, boutique hotels, and independent hotels that are interested to join the green hotel, all the certification programs. I feel that maybe the issue is the English communication problem, or maybe it's because the bigger chains already have brand recognition and credibility, which is why they have not been very interested in local certification programs. I'm not sure But for me, my main agenda is to promote awareness and understanding among smaller Thai hotels and independents.
Interesting, good. Well, I guess that hotels have their own programs maybe and their own, but it's good to know that you were able to reach out to what I thought, in fact, was a difficult communication. Excellent. So while I'm asking questions from the floor, I have a question for all of you. You can start thinking about it, about certification. What is your view about certifications? Where do you see the advantage? What are your policies on certifications? Advantage both internally as far as management and externally in terms of market access, etc. So while you give a thought about it, I would like to see if there is any question at this time from the floor for any of our speakers. Yes, please, the gentleman.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeffery from Knowledge Media Group. I'm a publisher of Ni Hao online magazine, the Chinese magazine. I have a simple question for the panel. With all the things you're doing, obviously you need the cooperation of the guests who stay in your hotel. What kind of expectation and what kind of cooperation you could get from the guests? How do you mobilize your propaganda to get the guests to support you, to go along with, getting your objective?
Thank you. Well, I think that Hazel gave a bit of an answer before to that point, but meanwhile, maybe with us, Jeff and Marisa, how from your perspective, you can answer this question. Maybe Marisa first, and then Jeff.
How do I get the guests engaged and involved? I think a key factor is getting the salespeople to understand what you're doing. I mean, what we did last year that was proved to be quite effective was we trained our sales staff on the various key issues of sustainability and what we are offering and why we do things. And through our sales staff, like in the meetings, the catering sales team, they all know about this. So they are the key communicators in our organization, our hotel. And also PR and communications team is also very important. We can inject sustainability into social media, into all the all the ways you communicate to guests. And also, so communication is key. Even on the buffet, you can have key messages, presented on the buffet, because in our hotel, we buy rice directly from the farmers and also fruits and vegetables. And so we have to train our staff to be able to explain and tell our story to the guests.
I think this is a key point. This is why I mentioned in one of the criteria the staff engagement. I mean, you need everyone in an hotel, from the director to the front desk, needs to know what the policy of the hotel is and need to understand it. Otherwise, it has happened to me as a customer that you see someone in the hotel that is totally disconnected from what is the message that the hotel is trying to give you, and that doesn't resound well at all. So I think that's indeed a good point. Jeff?
Sure. Yes, communication's important, and I think people need to know the stories to tell that relate to them and their role in the hotel too. I really liked what Hilton's doing actually with the room app. I would love to have that app. Maybe you'll share it. Engaging guests, we love to engage our guests. So and I think the best way to do that is to do things with them. Instead of talking to them, we invite them to come along. So a few of our hotels, to reduce our footprint and our supply chains, we have, for example, chickens that we keep at the resort, and we have our own free-range eggs. So one of the ways we engage guests around that is we invite them to come to the chicken area and with a little basket collect their eggs, bring them to the breakfast buffet, and they can have daily fresh, free-range, organic eggs, and that's fun, right? It's fun, and sometimes the kids get involved. We like to bring our guests into our gardens. Every Six Senses resort has an organic garden, and we have experiences built around that. So we'll do like a nice lunch or picnic-style dinner in a garden or in a national park or in a beautiful space that we're protecting and keeping keeping nice for the environment. So doing things with guests is a great way to communicate with guests about what things we're doing, right? Actions speak much larger than words inside the hotel and then also outside the hotel. So I mentioned we have funding set aside for sustainability related projects in local communities, projects in the local environment. And the results of those projects are very important for guests too, for them to understand. By actually making a big impact, hopefully those are issues that our guests care about, and I do believe that they'll be attracted to issues that they care about. So by, again, actions speak louder than words, and I think that's the best way to get guests involved.
I'll just add on a little bit on communication. That's really, really important. And there was this, in 2016, the head of China decided that water bottles, single-use water bottles in meeting and event was redundant. We can offer clean, safe water without having to offer it in single-use plastics. And there was the operational side to that, but there was also a big part of a concern on how would guests perceive it in a country where food safety is of concern to the public. So a big part of preparation was to make sure that our teams were able to explain it very well. It's not cost-cutting, this is safe, and how are we doing it? And I think the challenge for us is also in the different markets that we operate in, we receive different types of guests, from resorts to city, and also depending on the country of origin our guests are from. You have to change the message a little bit. So, for example, Meet with Purpose, when we talk about local sourcing, I think in markets in Thailand and Japan, Australia, New Zealand, it resonates really well with the meeting delegates because the country is well known and the story of the agricultural industry, the local farmers is all like a really wonderful story that guests love. But there are also markets that we needed to shift our message a little bit with our marketing and communications and sales colleagues because they feel like this message would not fly in certain countries. So I think for us, the consideration on is not one single message that can apply. You do have to look at where your guests are from and what market conditions are you operating in so that you can craft a message and story to your guests that they will appreciate. And then on staff as well, that is so important because when the guests don't understand, they're going to ask your staff. So your staff have to be able to explain it very well, and it runs all the way from your front office, your reception team, all the way to your banquet teams, our F&B teams. And sometimes I craft these, what I call money come by experiences for my staff. And one of it recently was a visit to Bali. So we have 3 hotels in Bali. And our soap recycling program has been supporting this slum community for years. But our team members have never actually visited the area. So I brought them on a visit there. And although most of them were Balinese, these were areas on the island that you might know, and you would not go. So they went and saw the massive landfill. So that's the biggest landfill on the island of Bali, and a lot of that is contributed by the waste of hotels nearby. So they have 7, and that's the biggest because a lot of the hotel and tourism industry waste goes all the way there. And the team members who have been there, they are able to explain it very well to the guests. Why are we doing this? Why are we not giving them plastic bottles? Why are we giving them in refillable glass that maybe they can't bring it out? But I think, the team member education is so important too. And I think on the flip side, they are local people living on the island, and they can also appreciate now better why the company is doing this and how does it affect them and their families better.
When we first worked with local farmers in Sampran, it was in Nakhon Pathom, not far away from Bangkok. First we did the rice. We bought the rice, organic rice directly, and the rice needed to be prepared differently when you buy organic. So there was a bit of resistance from the chefs initially, and so what happened was when the the rice farmer came to deliver, they started a rapport, and then they began to know each other, and then the chef had a personal connection, and then afterwards, the chef ordered all kinds of different rices, not just jasmine, but mulberry, all kinds of rices. And also in Sangpran, we took our restaurant, F&B, and chef kitchen team to meet with the local farmers and try to understand why they're doing this, the challenges and benefits of organic farming to their health and all of that. So mutual understanding was created, and so now, and then we also took the sales team out, and this year we're going to take a group of guests out for a farm visit in Sampran.
Great. Well, I love to hear these stories because really it's translating the big principle and the big words into facts and how actually you're operating, and I think they're very helpful and useful, maybe for us working more on the theoretical issues to understand how this actually trickled down. So is there any other question, please? Ram? Can you give him a microphone, please, over there? No? Is the gentleman there first? Sorry, I didn't see you, but you're next, okay? Okay, you don't mind, Ram, if he speaks first? I've got the microphone there, and then you have the floor.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, back to him, please. It's quicker.
Thank you. My name is Sachin Rajan, and I'm from India. My question is to Jeffrey and Marisa. Can you please give us few examples how you're managing your plastic program? Basically, a few examples would do.
What kind of program?
The plastic-free program.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I have 12 first steps of our plastics program right with me right now. The first is to reduce plastic bottles, the small plastic bottles in the bathrooms, the guest bathrooms. And funnily, I spoke to a hotel owner in Hong Kong, Marriott. She owns Marriott. She said that, well, in Hong Kong there's an issue of hygiene, and the guests might not find that very hygienic, so they're still using the small bottles. Well, anyways, we have a 500-room hotel in Bangkok when we use dispensers now. And Amari, Onyx are also using dispensers. Also, number 2, reduce plastic laundry bags. So in the rooms, you don't need to use plastic laundry bags. You can make those cloth bags. We encourage the use of local materials, locally produced biodegradable materials in the minibars. If you're in a smaller province, you can maybe help out the local community and sell local products in the minibar. Reduce plastic water bottles. We don't use plastic water bottles in our hotels. We have glass bottles, no plastic straws. And also, instead of wrapping food individually in meetings, some hotels do that, 3, 4-star hotels do that. We prefer them to organize a buffet instead. We reduce individually wrapped condiments in F&B, like sugar or jam and butter, don't need to be individually wrapped. We encourage recycling, offer green meetings to guests, and staff communication. So I'm in the process, we're drafting guidelines in each of the hotels department. I would love to share that with you. We can exchange name cards later.
Great, thank you. So Ram, please, go ahead.
This is a question for...
sorry, there is an answer to the question.
Thanks, Luigi. Hi. So I'm happy to say Six Senses seems to be compliant already with the Thai Hotel Association's plastic-free. We don't use single-use plastic shampoo bottles, and I don't believe there's a hygiene issue. I think that's a psychological issue. I don't even know the date when we made that conversion. I don't think we've ever used those little bottles. We have reusable dispensers. They're nice-looking ceramic and metal dispensers. Like I said earlier, we got rid of plastic water bottles. We've been bottling our own water in glass reusable water bottles since 2003. We got rid of our last plastic straw in 2016. We do, making lots of our own things, and local suppliers is a great way to avoid it. So if your supply chain is very long, then most likely you're so removed from your supplier that you couldn't even speak to them about their packaging if you wanted to. So by purchasing locally, it's already more sustainably done because you're helping local communities with economics, and also you're able to actually meet your farmer. I love that, and that's something we do too. And talk to them and say, hey, you know what? We don't want these individually wrapped. Can you use a reusable glass container? We also have some take-back programs in place. So we work with local fishermen, and we give them a reusable cooler rather than them bringing in styrofoam boxes. They bring that cooler in and out. We label it for them. It's their cooler, and they keep using it. So working with suppliers and pushing the plastic up the supply chain as far as we can, away from us and up the chain, is a strategy that we've been employing. We're at the point now where we've inventoried every single piece of plastic in all of our operations. So we feel that our approach needs to be preventative. We already do recycling. We already manage our waste the way that we're supposed to do it, and I'm sure everyone in the room does. But the evidence is showing that still, with all of the blue box programs out there and all the recycling that's done around the world, most of the plastic still goes in the ocean. So we're working with a failed system. Our waste management system is a failure on plastic, and I think we all need to wake up to that. So that's why our approach for Six Senses is to be preventative. We want to stop purchasing anything with plastic in it. And that's also because plastics are emitted into the environment throughout the whole life cycle of these plastic products. It's not just at the end of use. It's not just when you throw it away. When the item's being made, it emits microplastics into the environment through the manufacturing process, through extraction, through manufacturing, through transportation. Little things fall off the boat, they end up in the ocean before you even see it. So waste management is not the solution. We need to avoid plastics. So taking that approach, we've inventoried every single piece of plastic that we purchase at all of our spas and all of our hotels, and we're now going through the process of seeing how many of those pieces of plastic we can eliminate. We are tracking our progress based on the numbers of pieces of plastic we prevent from entering our businesses.
Can I share another story? A very innovative idea. Hijacked from Cambodia, Siem Reap, I think. In our hotel on the river in the Chao Phraya, we're embarking on a program where we would give our guests individual non-plastic bottles, and then connecting with various spots on the river, like malls and temples and things, to provide a refill station where our guests can just refill. And we're working with the hotels, hands with other hotels on the river to do this.
Excellent, both. I think the inventory of plastic, this is a serious approach to the business. You cannot just hide, close your eyes. You just keep track of every piece of plastic, and that's excellent idea of having this chain of refill bottles. Okay, Ram, finally you have the floor.
Thanks, Luigi. My question is to Hilton. You mentioned that you're going to reduce your emissions by 61% from 30% from this year. First question is, by when are you going to reach that 61% reduction? And the second question is, will you ever aspire for 100% reduction in emission? Will that ever be part of your goals at all?
Thank you. The year is 2030. And on the second question, will we ever reach 100%? Great question. We are a hotel management company, so that means we do not own the properties, the exact hotel building of 5,000 over hotels, which otherwise I would love for every single hotel to install renewable energies. But there's a capital investment that is with our owners. So I think we are honest with the things that we can push, and of course from the design standards, our technical service team, when they are engaging with development team, when they're speaking with owners and pitching an idea, and going through the process of identifying crafting how will this hotel look for an owner, and from there moving over to technical services who work closely with the owners' building teams. They constantly advise on and try to show the scenarios if you opt for more renewable options, as well as more effective FF&E. So I think that's an ongoing process. We've had more successes in some regions than others. Some regions, mainly Europe, more than Asia. So that's an ongoing challenge. My wish is 100%, but I think realistically that will be really, really challenging.
I'd just like to add a quick note to that. I think it's important to understand the distinction between being an operator and an owner. And just to expand on those points, that it's interesting if you think about the carbon emissions and how they're measured and tracked, the UN system for carbon. We talk about scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. And really it comes down to what's within your control, what's within your sphere of influence. And as an operator, of course, you know, we're driving the bus and we want to drive it as efficiently as possible, but we don't own the bus. We can't change the engine without permission from the owner. I think there's a strong argument that I guess I'm throwing out there, although I'm not ready to back it up with very much. But I think there is probably an argument out there that the hotel operations emissions would be scope 3 for a hotel operator because we don't own the facility. We don't have the control of that asset. And it's very important that really, if we're going to get to zero emissions for any hotel, it has to come, owners have to step up and be part of that conversation for sure. Or we're not going to get there. I think what's probably more relevant as an operator, and speaking as an operator, our emissions that are within our control or how we operate that equipment at the hotel. Probably more profound emissions come from our own transportation, the way that we operate in a corporate office, and I'm sure that's the same for many large hotel operators and brands. And that's probably where we would see more impact if we were to focus on those emissions, because they are within our control. And it's just an interesting way of looking at, it's a different lens to look at the carbon emissions thing. And I'm not trying to make a scapegoat here, and that it's not, because it is, obviously we're influencers in how the hotels are operated, and we should definitely be pushing to reduce emissions as much as we can in hotel operations. But to really get there, to get to zero, the owners definitely have to play a big role.
Thank you. We're running out of time. So can I have just 1 minute of the question I've done before? Importance of certifications, and can I ask you also what you think about the GSTC role in this? And I want an honest answer, not because we're organizer, but are you see first the value to see in any certification, what your approach, and in that what role of organization as our accrediting the certification program? But please quick, because we only have limited time. Shall I start from Marisa?
I think that certification is an investment in the future. It's the quick answer to that, and that goes for not just GST certification, but many other certifications that we go for, such as seafood. It's an investment in the future.
I think certification is important. I think accountability is important. We look for certifications in our supply chain. We don't have third-party certification for sustainability of our hotels. It's something that we're actually in conversations now with global tourism on. And to answer your question, in terms of the brand value, we don't see that as a priority. For me, I think it's more about just making sure that we have that support from a third party to make sure we are doing the best we possibly can.
I think for independent hotels, certification is very important. Initially, we began in Pattaya, TUI first at the hotel to be certified, and that's how we began. And through that, we realized that, wow, you know, there's a business case to be answered here. Sustainability helps save costs, helps build credibility, and it helps us engage our staff in something meaningful. And without certification, where would we learn? How can we learn about, you know, what the best practices are? The Green Hotel and Green Leaf, both in Thailand, are very good because they bring experts onto the property to coach us, to lead us through the process. So for me, I think certification has great value for independence.
Great. Thank you very much. I think we're just right on time. So just would like big round of applause for Hazel, Jeff, and Marisa. Thank you very much. I really liked this conversation with you, and I hope that you liked how well this open exchange of ideas. Thank you. We are going for lunch now, right, guys? Yes?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the speech of you. Okay, first I would like to thank all speakers for this insightful speech. And now let's take a break for have fun. And I want everyone to come back again for 10 minutes before next session begin around 2 and 10 p.m. Okay, and now let's take a break. Thank you. And we have tea room for interesting topic. You can check our topic for Moderator in front of this room. Thank you.
Hi, Marisa. I know your mom so well. We met when you were baby. 35 years ago. When I moved from Hong Kong to Bangkok, I formed a company. I was a member of THA. Your mom was singing in the boat in Chiang Mai. I never forget that. I never forget that. You know, it was, I'll give you another one. I have two cards. I'm not sure. I think we met. Yeah, I'm sure I met you before. You look familiar. You know, the Chinese New Year just a couple of weeks ago, I have guests from Singapore, Malaysia. I'm a Malaysian by birth, but grew up in Hong Kong. And I was playing music. And then suddenly somebody said, "That is Kamala." I said, "Wow." That's my mother's. She gave me a CD. And I love the song.
Well, her brother is a Thai pop star.
Wow. But she sings too, right? Yeah, I think they have this annual charity show.
People have told me Marisa sings beautiful. People have told me. Waiting to hear.
You work in a hotel now? In the main hotel in GSTC. My office used to be nearby. Yeah, I used to go very often.
But he has to be a Thai to walk over there.
Well, my office is very close. I walk over there for lunch very, very often. And of course, I'm very involved with art. And your mom has exhibition. I'm always there. You know, every time the exhibition is there. I moved to Chiang Mai now. I live in Chiang Mai. Happily settled down in Chiang Mai. Cleaner air, cooler weather. And I can hop over to Laos, hop over to Burma. In fact, in the next 3 days, I'll be in Burma. I'm going to Changtung. He knows that. I'm going to Changtung by bus. I mean, okay, the bus goes to the border and then the taxi goes to Changtung. 3 hours. And you from Singapore?
I have to run to another meeting.
Okay.
Are you sticking around for a little bit?
Yes,
or?
yes, maybe I haven't got a chance.
Okay, just after lunch.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, some new hotels.
Okay, well, thank you so much
You're
for
very
fitting this in,
welcome.
appreciate
How
it.
is Melson? Good?
Yeah, lovely place, nice and quiet.
Yeah.
I had a very productive
You have a
week,
car?
so-
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to
In
get in
fact, I
touch
have
with
the,
you.
the hotel sustainability benchmark thing from 2017 awarded.
Oh, okay,
I
please
have a
do.
report.
Yeah,
Okay.
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, those are the people who need to get engaged.
Are you in
You
hotel
both still around?
tomorrow?